We have in Washington, Jedidiah wants to talk about whether or not something exists in reality, if it exists in the mind. Is that right, Jedidiah?
Hi, Mandisa and Matt. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, I'm
Sure.
really excited for the call.
So I guess kind of
yeah,
make your case as clearly as you can.
Yeah, I know you like arguments in syllogistic form, so I've got it to the best of my ability here. Just a few lines.
Right.
Okay.
So one, human beings experience an internal reality called the mind and an external reality called the world. Two, some things humans experience only exist internally in the mind, like concepts, memory, mental images of beautiful trees here in Washington. And some things human beings experience exist only externally in the world, like physical trees here in Washington. Three, anything existing inside the mind counts as existing within capital R reality. Four, God is an example of something or someone existing inside the mind. Five, therefore, God exists.
Okay. So there's a load of problems here. Basically, this is one big equivocation fallacy because you're trying to argue that if it exists in an internal reality, then it exists in the capital R, the whole of reality, because the concepts exist. But to say that because a concept exists, a thing exists, is an equivocation fallacy, because what we mean by exist in those two sentences is different, and what we mean by the subject in the sentence is different. So, and by the way, one of your premises is just flawed. The one where it says some things we only exist externally, like the trees, but you can look at the trees, which means you're experiencing the actual tree and a concept of the tree at the same time. And those two things are not the same thing. There's a fallacy of confusing the map for the place. And so just because I can conceive of a unicorn or a pixie or a fairy or a god, yes, that concept exists in my head, but that concept is not identical to the thing. So the concept of a tree is not the same as the tree. And therefore, it's possible for the concept of the tree to exist internally only, and the tree to not actually exist in reality. And the proof of that is I have a concept of a tree in my backyard that no longer exists. It no longer exists in reality. So you've got two equivocations going on, and they're both fallacies. One is that you have basically God and then God in quotes, and just like you have tree and tree in quotes. There's a physical tree and a conceptual tree. It is a fallacy to equate those two. It is also a fallacy to equate X exists in the mind and X exists in reality, because exist in those two cases means two different things. So you've got basically two equivocation fallacies going on.
Oh, okay. Thanks for pointing that out. I really appreciate it. Like I said, I'm doing my best here.
Yeah, no worries.
Can I ask a question about the unicorn example?
Sure.
So when you say a unicorn exists as a concept in your mind, why
more accurately,
that be an example? Oh, sorry.
So it's a problem to say a unicorn exists as a concept in my mind. What would be more accurate is there exists a concept of a unicorn in my mind. It's a grammatical point, but what was the question?
Oh, okay. So that mental image, I'm assuming you have a mental image of a unicorn, right?
I have several, actually.
Okay. So I guess my question is, because that exists as an experience that you have or a mental image that you hold in your mind, and you and I experience a reality, why wouldn't that mental image that's held in your mind be equivalent to or just another example of reality?
Well, all right. I'd like for you to imagine a pink elephant with wings and horns along its back. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, in your mind, you have a concept of a pink elephant with wings and horns down its back. But you cannot say a pink elephant with wings and a horns down its back exists. It doesn't exist. It doesn't even exist in reality or in your head. What exists in your head is not that elephant. What exists in your head is a concept of the elephant. And that's the difference between the map and the place. And so the map exists, your concept exists, but the place it's pointing to, it could be a map of Narnia. And the fact that we have a map of Narnia doesn't mean that Narnia exists. Just like I have a full diagram of, I have the blueprints of the NCC 1701 Enterprise from the original series. I have them downstairs. You can take a look. Well, I could bring them up, but whatever. But that doesn't mean that the Enterprise exists in reality, right?
I think I guess it kind of, for me, it depends on what you mean by reality. So I guess just quickly going back to the... No. Stop, Jedidiah, stop.
Oh, sorry. Do you think that the pink elephant with wings and horns down its back exists as a physical entity in reality?
Right.
Yes.
Well, I don't know what to tell you then, because that's... I'm trying not to be offensive, but that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. Because you just said that something that a concept I came up with just now, which we have no evidence for the thing existing anywhere. Mm-hmm. You said you can imagine it, and now you're actually convinced that it is a physical being in reality. You are failing to understand the difference between a physical entity in reality and a concept. And there are differences between concepts and actual physical entities. So I don't believe that you think that pink elephant's real.
Right. Because even if you, let's say you draw them, even if you draw it, even if you create this beautiful image of it, it still doesn't mean, like Matt said, that it actually exists, that there's actually evidence for it, that there are, that there is some sort of evidence that you can point to that it actually existed outside of one's imagination.
Right. I think that's what I'm trying to point to. Like in my second line, I had here like concepts, memory, or mental images, and I would just include anything that can be conceived of in the mind as another iteration or example of things existing inside the mind.
Do you think that the concept of the pink elephant with wings and horns is identical to a physical pink elephant with horns?
Oh, no.
Then stop pretending that one is the other. That is the equivocation fallacy. You have it too deep in your syllogism, and you're trying to back it up right until I actually asked that specific question. Yet just a moment ago, you said yes to the pink elephant with wings and a horn existing as a physical creature. You said you thought yes, it did.
Sorry, I would say yes to both, if that helps clear it up.
No, it doesn't. It means that you are doubling down on your confusion, because there's a difference between the thing and a concept of the thing, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So if there's a difference between a thing and a concept of thing, then you cannot have a valid and sound argument that equates the concept of the thing with the thing, period. End of story. Over. Done. I'm moving on. Thanks, Jedidiah.
It's okay. Oh,
nope. Thank you.
Bye.